Hello, everybody. Welcome, friends. Today we've got a very funny, hilarious story. There's a rat involved. There's hot, sticky messes. There, there's all kinds of goodness in this story. So strap on in, sit down, get some snacks to eat, and we're gonna delve into my day in New Orleans, or as people in the South, people from there call it Nolans. Much like how people call Louisville, Louisville. If you're from Louisville, they go Louisville. That's how you say it. You say Louisville. Yeah, ma'am. How are you, ma'am? Anyways, my whole idea of what New Orleans is basically it's a party town, more adult themed. You drink there, you party there. There's music, there's a loudness. It's hot, it's sticky. My first time I did go to New Orleans, which was I was a kid. It was like 1995. We were on a trip, a family trip. Like we went down to Texas, went to the border of Mexico, and just kind of went along that way. We wound up in Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and I remember vaguely just nighttime kind of vibe. There were neon lights. I remember seeing women dressed up very skanky, and I remember we might have went into one gift shop where I think I grabbed something. I'm not sure what, but my first recollection of Nolans and my first experience there was kind of like vague. And my second time back to New Orleans was July 6th, 2025. And it was one crazy, hilarious, confusing, crazy day. Now, how did I wind up going to New Orleans? Because it really isn't my vibe. Like being in a festival, being out and about in a crowded place with a bunch of people that are drunk, not my vibe, not my cup of tea, or should I say, big plastic cup full of some type of alcoholic beverage of your choice, Slurpees, slushies. There were these bars you would go into, and it was like a Slurpee place. And I remember going into one, and I was like, "Do you guys have anything that's non-alcoholic?" And she pointed to one teeny tiny little machine, and she says, "This is Sour Patch Kids watermelon apple." And I'm like, Eh, no thanks. I'll just drink the water out of my bottle. Because I don't drink. Now, had I did drink, if I were to consume alcohol, I might have had a better time there. But I did not. A lot of people really love it. So it's like the majority rules. I'm the outlier. I get it. But I enjoy people. I'm not an introvert. But I just don't enjoy people in that setting. I like getting to know people maybe one on one or maybe a small group, but like being out and about, oh, buzzing, feeling the vibes off of the other people, like I do not get that. That drains me. I do not uh, uh, get my energy from being around other people. Put me in a room by myself, much as I am here, and I will become a party, a one man party. But yeah, so but I will go out. I'll enjoy myself to a certain extent, but I can't do that every day. I can't, go out. So how I wound up in New Orleans the second time this past weekend, uh, we were down in Destin, Florida, for a nice week-long summer beach trip, just hanging out. Had a great time. Ate some seafood, and yeah, sat out on the beach. What are you gonna do, boy? And after that, we were like, while we're down here in the South, the next kind of big city that is kind of mysterious to me, like I said, I still have that faint kind of an idea of what New Orleans is all about, but I always hear about it. It's the Mardi Gras center of the world. It is French inspired, I guess. That's where the French were, and everything is French and all that. And we're like, okay, let's drive across West 10. And it was about 4 hours or so from where we were destined to New Orleans. And it was a pretty nice scenic drive from there to there. Lots of bridges. You see marshlands and all this stuff. It was pretty actually. And as we roll into the French Quarter, that's where all this stuff is happening in New Orleans. Not like the big city where you see all the big buildings. It's kind of before you get all that if you are heading east to west. Get down off the ramp, and I turn on heading towards the west French Quarter, and I see just like it's already getting crowded. And this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, something like that. And I'm like looking around, and I'm like, this looks a lot like St. Louis, where I'm from. And I'm like, it's as if someone grabbed a bunch of crayons and just scribbled all across the grittiness of St. Louis and bolder colors, all that. That's what New Orleans is. That's what I took from it. Maybe more prettier kind of architecture compared to St. Louis. St. Louis is kind of losing its luster there. But I was like, yeah, it kind of looks like St. Louis, but the traffic is bad, and a lot of things are blocked off. So trying to find a parking garage or a parking spot was kind of hard to find. And that's the thing I always dread every single time we have to go into some big city. Parking. I got to worry about parking. Where am I going to park my car? Don't want to park here on the side street because anything could happen. I got to find a garage or something. So the garage I did have put on my GPS was you had to make a U-turn around and go through construction. I was like, all right, we'll do this. And I drive deeper into the French Quarter. And I finally find this parking garage called Premier Parking. It's kind of like a company full of parking garages all across America and whatever. So we pull into the parking garage, find a spot. And it's one of these deals now, if you haven't parked in a parking garage in the past 10 years, now what you do is there is a QR code kind of in the section wherever you park. They put these QR codes up where you take your phone out, put it on the camera app, and hold it up, and it'll scan the code, go to that link, and it'll take you to how much time you want to put while you're there and how much do you want to pay. So I was sitting there thinking, we may be here till midnight. Something like that. So that wound up being $60, which I'm like, oh, God, $60 for a parking spot. Hey, it is what it is. When in Rome or when in New Orleans, you got to do what you got to do. So one-time thing. Maybe 2 times if I feel up for it. I don't know. But anyways, get the parking spot, and my wife was looking at places to eat at for breakfast, or at this point it was brunch time or lunch, and we finally find a place that is called I'm not going to say the name because this restaurant we eat at definitely has some things. I'm not going to put them out on blast, but anyways, we find this place. Okay, it's a brunch place. And they have, all kinds of breakfast items. But we're looking at this French toast that they had. There was like a king bread style French toast. And then there was a coconut cream pie French toast that my wife pointed out and said I would love. And I was like, yeah, I was actually really psyched. That was going to be the highlight of this trip, is going there. Is the highlight to New Orleans like just the people and the vibes and the music? No. This coconut cream pie French toast, though, yeah, sure. So we found the place on the map, and it was like all the way down. So walking was about 18 minutes. It was funny because the car was 20-minute drive, but walking was shorter. And that's just how the traffic is in the French Quarter of New Orleans, where the old part of New Orleans it was, or is. It's right there. And I'm looking around and I'm like, the cool thing about this area is it reminds me a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. If you ever played that game, you will see like the place where like the train station is, which is now just like a bunch of shops. And I noticed that as we were walking to this breakfast place, I'm looking to my right, There's the shops and the train station. I'm like, oh, I feel like John Marston or Arthur Morgan here looking at all this stuff. And, beyond that, those shops is that river. So I looked at the map and I'm like, yeah, that's just like in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's cool. And I was just soaking in all the historical things about it, looking at all the buildings, which is really awesome and good stuff. But just I was taking in also the people, and that was the thing. That was kind of like, because I am seeing overweight, obese people walking around wearing swimsuits that I think are intended for like no more than a teenager. Like they're just like just strapped right there, and then just gut and just like who dressed you? Are you wearing stuff from when you were like in junior high? Like what is going on here? It was absolutely disgusting. It was sick. And people would walk by, I'm getting whiffs of BO. And that's when I started to use my nose as one of the senses when I was walking around New Orleans, taking it in. And all I was smelling was just trash, like garbage. Like it reminded me of hanging out at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and after a game or before a game, or even when a game hasn't been there in 4 days, you still get this like dumpster smell of like all the alcohol that's been poured into the dumpster and all the empty beer cans and stuff. Like you just get this scent throughout the streets as you walk through here, and it's like, man, this is hey, it's the vibes, it's the energy, it's the culture, this is New Orleans for you. So I understand that. So no complaints, but I was just, taking it all in from what I could. But anyways, we finally make our trek to this breakfast and brunch place. We walk in, it was like 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 o'clock. So we had plenty of time. They closed at 3. So we walk in. They kind of gave my wife and I a bit of trouble because they were talking to us like, did you have an appointment? Did you have a reservation with us? No? Do we? This is just some breakfast place. And they're like, oh, yeah, looking around. Okay, yeah, we got a table. They take us to our table. We sit down. And this whole dining area, think of like a Waffle House. It was about that size, but with 3 times as much people. So we are like almost sitting on top of each other. This big family over here. These 2 dudes were sitting next to us, and we're just kind of squeezed in. The waiter comes by. I'll just get the regular French toast then with strawberries and call it a day. Okay? So we get our food. The French toast was fabulous. It was awesome. It tasted like it was deep fried twice or something. It was probably the best French toast I ever had, which I have such mixed feelings now. We'll get to that in a second. The wife had a chicken sandwich with this like special aioli sauce on it, which was good. I had a bite of that. We get our check, and I take out my debit card, put it in, write a tip out, all that stuff. The whole total was like $19. I left a $5 tip, which I think is good, but I was just focused on taking the receipt out and putting it in my wallet, because I have this thing where whenever I'm on a trip, I will take the receipts of wherever we eat and kind of keep that as a souvenir, all these places. And my wife is wanting beignets, which is like, if you don't know, it's like a kind of a pastry kind of thing. It's like a square lump of dough that is fried, and then it's like usually sprinkled with powdered sugar. And there's this place in New Orleans that's like famous for that. It's like the Cafe whatever. It's been there since the dawn of time, apparently. And that's where you get the beignets and all that. It's an outdoor kind of thing, just has an awning on it, and everyone sits under there. There's the, fans that don't do anything. It's just hot. I just got to reiterate, it was hot. And so we're like, okay, you want to go there? And we're like, no, we just ate. Let's walk around and check out some other things and some stores or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. We leave the breakfast place and we decide to walk across the street and look at the stores that they had there. And there were toy stores, there were like a farmer's market, kind of like how Soulard is in St. Louis. There was that and a bunch of other things. We didn't go into the farmer's market because what are we going to buy? Some tomatoes and take them home? No. We make our way into this toy store. And as we walk in, I overhear one of the workers there talking to these three women. The three women were all together and they're loud, being obnoxious. And the guy was telling them, hey, did you guys happen to come from another store? They are missing some things. And now you are in our store and things are being misplaced. And I know you guys have just been standing in that corner and you were whispering, but I just want to let you know our cameras can pick up everything, audio, visual. So even if you're whispering, we're going to be able to hear that. Now, we can call the cops, and we do have the cops on hold right now, but if you give up whatever you have hidden right now, we will cancel the order for the cops to come. And they wind up giving up the things and they've walked out. And the dude working there that confronted them was like, yes, I am supreme. And he told his story to his co-owners. And I'm just overhearing all this while I'm looking at, random stuff in the store. Some of the stuff looked really cool. But we left the store, didn't get anything. And we started walking down towards this area. It was like the Andrew Jackson statue. The Andrew Jackson statue. And we got some photos there. It's like kind of like a square park. And I noticed this one guy while we were waiting to get the photo op. We're watching this one guy. I, man, is this just how regular people, like usually when I get my photo taken with something, I will just stand there and stare, maybe just to be a jackass. I will just stand there straight and look, or maybe I'll just do ooh, and that could be stupid too or whatever, but I feel like I do that sarcastically. I never do that seriously, but I've seen these dudes do this a lot, and it's whenever they're getting their picture taken, they do this where they kind of just look off as if they're not looking at the camera. I don't know if is that a thing like you're supposed to do? I never got that memo that if you're getting your photo taken in front of something or whatever, you're supposed to look away from the camera as if you're like, yeah, I'm an adventurer. I am conquering the world, looking off from the camera to look super cool, look even cooler than before, like this. I don't get it, but that's what this dude was doing, and his girl, whoever his wife, girlfriend, was taking photos of him. I was just watching them, and I'm like, "You're watching people. Stop it. Look away." I'm like, "Okay." I know that's rude, and I don't like people doing that to me. Even though people do that to me, I want to give people the same, treatment I would. It's just like, oh, no, I'm being rude. Look away. Just actually taking something else. Stop people watching, Blake, okay? So, finally get out of the way. We get our photos, and we walk around this park, and we notice this cathedral, and we walk in there, and it was like huge. Like I didn't realize how huge it was. The ceilings were so high, and I was just looking at how beautiful the paintings were on the ceiling. And in my head, I'm just thinking, how did they do that? And I'm like, man, they had to have scaffolds so high, and someone is so talented to do that. Like it just kind of blows my mind. Even something like that, like just it was if you do go to New Orleans and go in the French Quarter, that would be a place I will recommend you go to. Plus the air conditioning in there is top notch. So if you are sweating balls, definitely go into that cathedral. And we saw a confession booth, and that was like the first time I ever seen a confession booth. I'm not Catholic or Christian or anything, so it's like I've never seen that before. So I see that, and we leave, and we start walking along the Andrew Jackson Park still, and we see fortune tellers set up and all these other things, and there are these benches from the TV show The Originals, and my wife watches that show or watched it, and they're like, "Oh, this is the location with the benches and stuff," and so got some photos there. So after that, we decide to go into a gift shop, and we find some magnets, some cool things, and we go up to check out. And okay, it's $12. I pull out my wallet and start looking for my debit card, and I'm like, oh, where is my debit card? It's right here. Panic. Boom. Right to my stomach. Where did I leave my debit card? Somewhere in New Orleans. Ah! I was just starting to go through the motions. Okay, where did I leave it at last? The breakfast place. I look at the watch. It's 3:15. They closed at 3. I can't I we've already walked all this way back. It's pretty much an 18-minute walk all the way back to that breakfast place. Is anybody still there? My phone also was at like 2%. So if I needed to get a hold of my wife, uh, this was just insane, stressful, high stress. And I'm like, where are you gonna be? And she said she's going to check out this hotel or whatever where they also filmed another part from the show. And I'm like, all right, I don't expect you to run with me down to this breakfast place. So I'm going to run down there, see if I could bang on the door and find somebody to help me find my debit card within the booklet. It had to be in one of those booklets where they put the check in and all that. So here I am like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2, but instead it's DJ Glowing Ice in New Orleans, running from one side of the French Quarter all the way back to this breakfast place. And I'm running so far, and I'm trying to get through all these people that are just loud and big and drinking and all this stuff. And I'm like, I need my debit card. I need my debit card because all I got is like another credit card, and that's it. That's we need this. These are the lifelines that will get us home the next day. Okay, I need that. And it's like, yeah, there's Apple Pay and stuff, but if you need cash, what are you gonna do? You can't use a credit card and ATM, which I soon learned. But so I finally make it back to this breakfast place, and I walk up to the doors. Everything's shut. The chairs are on the tables. The lights are out and everything. I start banging on the door. And as I bang on the door, I look in and I see this rat run from one side to the other. This rat was huge. Like it was the size of a small dog. It I shit you not. The rat was that big without the tail. The tail made it even longer, and it was about that fat. It was the size of a 10-pound chihuahua or something. I saw it run, and all of a sudden, I laughed, even though I was stressed out and tired and hot from running so fast and quickly back. I also had to laugh when I saw that rat run across and scurry across the floor inside this restaurant. And I was like, oh my God. The French toast was good. Did he make it? Ratatouille style or what? But I banged on the door, no answer. I saw a light in the corner. I was like, hopefully there's a manager doing payroll or something. They're able to hear me. Bang, 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 bang. Nothing. I go to the shop next door to this place, and it was like just a gift shop. I walk in and I say, hey, do you guys know the number of the person running this restaurant next door? And they're like, yeah, I got one number. And she started calling it, and she tried 3 times. It went to voicemail, no avail. And I said, thank you so much for helping. I'll find a way, some way, shape, or form. So I run around to the hotel area that is still attached to this whole part, and I ask if they know, and they said, "I'm sorry, even though we do know, I can't disclose that information." Yeah, I felt like Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I need yeah, anyways. So I'm SOL of a debit card, you know, and that is where most of my funds for the vacation is on. I tried not to use my credit card for anything. Finally, I make it back. I call my wife, and she found her way onto Bourbon Street. So she's like, just walk all the way down to Bourbon Street and walk past, the band or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And this band, this marching band style music with the horns and the drums and all that gets louder and louder as I'm walking to Bourbon Street. And it opens up down to the left of Bourbon Street. Bars down to the right of Bourbon Street. There's some barricades keeping traffic away from going down the street. And there are bars there too, and open areas where I'm feeling rushes of AC hitting me. I'm like, oh, that feels good, but where's my wife? I'm looking around. I don't find her. And I try calling again. I'm like, hey, where are you exactly? Just walk down the street. I'm like, which way? And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll figure it out some way, shape, or form. So I walk down the street where the band is, past the band on my left, and keep looking down. I find my wife, and we meet up finally. And I'm like, hey, yeah, the debit card is gone. I know where it's at. At least it's safe within that book. And it's not out somewhere where someone finds it and we're like, I'm getting paid or anything like that. We sit down, take a breather. I'm hot, really hot. I remember checking the temperature. It was like, felt like 94 degrees, and the humidity was like 50%. But it felt like I was just a burning inferno. Sweat, my whole shirt was wet. It was, and we sit down and we're just chilling for a second. I'm like, well, this is fine. I'm not gonna call my bank right now because the hotel we are staying in tonight, which is in Mississippi, Macomb, Mississippi, has my debit card on there, and it's like, I don't know if I cancel my debit card, will that screw up my reservation at the hotel, and then we're gonna have to sleep in the car tonight? I'm like, no, I can't. I know where it's at. It's in the booklet. Should be fine. I'm like, I'm not gonna lock the card. Not gonna call the bank. Let's just enjoy ourselves here and not worry about this mishap. And we make our way to the beignet shop, this cafe place, to get the beignets. We find a table. The lady was really nice, and she's like, okay, what do you want? And we get 2 sets of 3 beignets, so 6 altogether. And the coffee choices were very minimal. Iced coffee, drip coffee, like, just, it wasn't a Starbucks or a Scooter's coffee, that's for sure. I get an iced coffee because I was hot. I put that order in, and then the lady said, all right, this is cash only. And I'm like, no cash on my wallet. My wife has a few bucks in cash. And I'm like, and the lady points to the store down the road, right there across the street. There's an ATM there. You could get cash out of there. Like, oh, great. So I go to the store where the ATM is, and I'm like, don't have a debit card. Maybe a credit card could work. Maybe I could get cash advance for the 16, 20 bucks this is. Put the credit card in, ask for a PIN. I'm like, my credit card has a PIN? Maybe when I first got it, they had something. I was just like, I try to put in some random numbers that I have used as PINs before in the past, and like came back, declined. I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get cash? And then I go up to the guy and I'm like, hey, I'm using a credit card here. He's like, ooh, that may be hard. He's like, you could do cash back at the CVS 2 blocks down. I'm like, okay. So Well, I'm just thinking about my wife sitting there at the table, like, oh God, probably they already served the stuff. I have to run 2 blocks down here to get cash to pay this lady and go to the CVS. No, we don't do cash back. And I'm like, how am I going to do anything now? You know? And I think about it in my head. What my dad's always told me is cash is king. Cash is king. And I would recommend this to myself, to anybody else. You're going to go on a trip. Have at least $300 to $400 in cash on you. Because when you feel like you are stuck, you feel like you're imprisoned or something, like you have the money, but if you don't have ways to getting it, any way, shape, or form to pay a cash only place, what are you gonna do? So I walk back to the cafe in defeat. I'm like thinking, I'm just gonna have to tell this lady, I'm sorry, we can't eat this, even though you brought it to us, the coffee. I'm sorry. Should we wash some dishes for you for an hour to pay this off, or we're just gonna go without? The lady, nice enough, said, "Do you have Zelle?" I'm like, "Yes, I do have Zelle." Okay, here's my number. Here's my name. You could Zelle me the money, and we could do it that way. So I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Why? Anyways, I Zelled her the money, and we were cool. So thank God for technology and smartphones. That's all I'll say. Eat the beignets, but while we're sitting there, it is hot. Once again, we're sitting around everybody. Everybody's sitting on top of each other. It's not a pleasant cafe chill experience. You are sitting here, and it's people are loud, bumping into you while you're sitting in the chair. We both ate a beignet. I drank down my coffee like a madman, and we finish up. And by this time, it's like 5:30. And I was wanting to spend a lot more time here, but it's hot now, and I lost my debit card. And at the same time, it was fun seeing all the historic stuff and all that. But I'm like, what else are we gonna do here? We don't drink. Neither of us drink. What are we gonna do? And so we decide to walk down a little bit, and there's this open area where we see the river. And as we are crossing the street, I see this guy, and he's hassling this woman. And this guy is an artist. This is what happens in big cities. I had this happen to me in New York City 15, 16 years ago. But it's these guys that are aspiring singers, rappers, whatever, where they stand on corners and they approach tourists that don't have any clue what is even going on. Easy prey to just milk some money out of people, per se. What they do is they will come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm an aspiring R&B artist," and they will say, "Here's a CD." Like back then, I was handed a CD. "This is free, man. Whatever, but we require a donation of like $10 or more." And it's like, that doesn't make sense. If the CD's free, I shouldn't have to pay you. But that's their hassle. Their hustle, not hassle. They're hassling you, but that's their hustle. Their hustle is your hassle. And so they will also sign it and say, yeah, this is, to make you feel even, oh, wow, this is something. So that is the whole deal. And they weren't hassling me, but I was hearing some lady being hassled, and I was just overhearing him saying, "All right, all right, all right. Yeah, we're out here. How. And he hands this lady a pamphlet that had like a QR code and stuff that took her to his YouTube and his socials and his Instagram, and he was like, "Yeah, we're out here. Hey, how you doing, ma'am? I'm an aspiring R&B artist. I'm gonna be famous one day. I'm gonna be famous. Hey, yeah, let me give you my autograph. You could sell this for thousands in a few years." And he hands it to her, and he was like, "All right, now, usually I don't ask for much, maybe $10, $15 for this." And she's like, "No, I ain't paying you any money." And he was like, oh, okay, all right, I see you, all right. And he takes it away from her, and he walks away, and he just starts walking around again in his little corner that he's working. He's like, yeah, we're out here, we're doing it, yeah, all right, all right, all right. And I'm like, oh, scam artists. No one wants your crappy link to your crappy music video. No one wants that. No one wants your autograph. But, hey, when you have tourists that are maybe they're from the country, they've never had a city experience in their life, they're frightened by this, and they just want to give you some money so you walk away. But those of us that are smart, we're not going to do that, right? Yeah, we're not going to do that. Don't give them any money. So anyways, we cross this street. That's what I all overheard. I picked that up within 30 seconds of anything. Cross the street, and we walk up this ramp to the staircase that goes down basically right into the river. And as we're walking, I'm getting now hassled by one of those guys, and he starts approaching me, and I'm like, all right, got to protect the wife. I'm like, he starts going in and talking about my shoes. And he's saying, oh, man, those are some nice shoes, man. You got some nice shoes. And I'm like, nope. And I'm like, we stopped for a second because I'm like, what does he want? And I'm like, he's going in on his sales pitch of, oh, you got nice shoes, man. Where you from, man? Where you from? And I'm like, nah, leave me alone. We'll keep going. And I hate to ignore people because I'm not really that type of person that would be like, I'm going to ignore you, whatever. But those are the people that you will come across in a city that they're going to throw their sales pitch at you. And one of the first things that they will do is look at what you have and be like, hey, that's a nice, belt buckle. Hey, that's a nice phone you got there. What kind is that? That's a good one, man. Hey, man, and then they'll go in on whatever they're trying to give you. Walk away from that mess, and then he started scooting off to somebody else, unsuspecting. We sit down, just watch the riverfront. We saw some ducks swim up. That was cute. We're like, all right, yep, it's hot here too. Let's head back. So that was about it. We started walking back, and we saw a seafood boil restaurant. Looked really good. But, no debit card. I'm sure a lot of places, Apple Pay is still hit and miss if you could pay with your phone or whatever. We're like, oh, that looks really good. Seafood boil. We'll find a place here in St. Louis. I'm sure there are places around here. And we make it to our parking garage. Walk all the way up. And getting out of the parking garage, it was kind of a mess. There's one lane of traffic going from left to right, and you have to hopefully find someone that is an angel to let you in. As soon as we started exiting out of the parking garage, just inching my nose out. There's some people that are very aggressive. They'll just like pull right out and just try to get right in front of you. It's like, I'm not going to try to do that. Because they always say you got to be a defensive driver, not an aggressive one. And so I finally, had two cars pass by. They saw me, and they got up real close. They're like, no, I'm not letting this guy coming out of the parking garage get in. No. But luckily, there was this angel of a dude in this big truck. He let me in. I'm just like, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Get out. And yeah, traffic was a little brutal that way. Finally got out of the French Quarter, and we made our way to Macomb, Mississippi. 55 north is what we took all the way back up home. And it was kind of wild because I've driven on 55 forever and ever. And it was pretty cool to get on 55 right where it starts at the very bottom of the south and just drive straight up. And I will leave you on this. It was one of the greatest feelings in my life. Was on the way home, we are driving, and you know how I said about aggressive drivers, right? You're not supposed to be aggressive. You're supposed to be defensive. Go with the flow of traffic. But this one lady that was in this SUV, she had like a hairnet on, just looking very sloppy. She was just like on my butt, and I'm like doing 75, and she's just like, "Ah," I'm going with the flow of traffic. I'm actually going faster than a lot of other people, but she's just like, uh, and I'm like, all right, fine, move over to the right. She just does the same thing to the next person up, and she's just like swooping. I'm watching her, and I'm just like, she needs something to happen. And I was looking at my map, and this notification popped up saying speed check ahead. And I was like, all right, 65. Let's do 65. And wouldn't you know, I go down a mile and I see a cop car. And I'm like, oh, it's getting somebody. And I'm like, I hope it's that lady with the bonnet that was doing 90. She had to at least be doing 90. And on the side of the road, we see the cop car with the lights flashing and the SUV. And we drive super slow past. And I look, and sure enough, it is the lady with the bonnet. And I'm like, yes. Oh, that made this trip complete. So, yeah. Today I canceled my debit card. I got that taken care of and called the place. They said they did have it. I told them to cut it up, throw it away, because I got a new debit card happening. Made it home safe, and that was it. That was my fun, wild trip to New Orleans. Now, the beignet was good. Very, very good. It's even good warmed up again. A little tip with beignets is never microwave them if you're going to heat them up later. Put them in a toaster oven and they'll come out crisp and fluffy and warm even then. All I got to say is New Orleans will be a trip I will definitely never forget. Even if it only lasted 4 hours or so. I saw a big rat in the place we just ate at, scampering across the floor. But that's the charm of the French Quarter. You gotta have a little ratatouille happening. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this fun little journal entry of a video. And if you do find yourself in New Orleans, definitely stop by, get some beignets. Have cash handy. I will remember that next time, maybe. And go to the cathedral. And there's great air conditioning in there. And yeah, that's about it. Lots of historic stuff is really cool just to look at and walk around. Not so much the vibes with the people and the drunkenness. That's the low point. But the history and all that stuff is very beautiful. So, like I said, yeah, my trip to New Orleans very mixed because there's good and bad. And that's like with any city or any place really that you go. There's always going to be pros and cons. And possibly The Heat of July wasn't the best move either. But hey, when you're down south, and what are you gonna do? Wait another week till the weather goes down, and then no, you got to take advantage when you can. That's it. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'm DJ Glowing Eyes saying peace out and take care. Have a great rest of the day. Bye bye.